Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. My name's FPL Phillips and today is another episode of Eddie versus the algorithm. It feels like it's been a while since the last one, so I'm very happy to once again be bringing to you guys another episode where I'll be taking on the computer generated team put together by the Fantasy Football Fix algorithm that has predicted the most amount of points this time in Game Week 21. Then as usual, I'll be putting together my own free hit team this time. I've gone a little bit differential, gone with a few more risky punts in there, trying to make it a little bit more interesting. It was a pretty boring but narrow victory for the algorithm last time out, so that makes the score 12-7 now, so puts a little bit more pressure back on me. I'm still not feeling it, albeit though with the team that I decided to put together, as I am, as I mentioned, going a little bit outside of the box. So I'm excited to show you my team, but before that, of course, we've got to take a look at how the algorithm team is lining up ahead of Game Week 21. And of course, there's a lot going on in FPL at the moment. There are a lot of injuries, there are a lot of competitions making things difficult to see. There are a lot of upcoming potential blanks that, albeit maybe not too many now, there are also potential double game weeks that we've got that need to get added into the calendar still. So really, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding long-term planning in FPL at the moment. So even looking in just one game week's time at Game Week 21 is a little bit nice at the moment because it involves a lot less stress than having to look down at the future at games that are very, very uncertain at the moment, as long as player injuries, player suspensions, players being away on international duty, all this stuff that makes this period of the FPL season rather quite a lot to handle if you've not got loads of time to be looking into all these different things. But yeah, Game Week 21 is what we're looking at here, just in isolation, and in goal for the algorithm for this game week is going to be Areola, who of course has been on a fantastic run of form lately. West Ham this time take on Sheffield United. That's a away fixture where they've got one of the worst goal scoring records in the league, Sheffield United, this season, but that'll typically be the game, as I kind of mentioned yesterday, where West Ham will go ahead and concede now. So I don't think there are too many locked in clean sheets. Have there ever this season been that many locked in clean sheets in a game week where they've come to pass? Not really. So Areola, with the current form that he's in, seems a very decent shout in my book, and I really like the look of that as a pick for the algorithm for this game week. Moving into the defence then, we've got a double up on the Hammers with Vladimir Suval coming in at predicted 4.4 points for this game week. He's alongside Ben White of Arsenal and then Estupinian, a man who we talked about yesterday, given that he's in my team and in the eventual wildcard draft that I ended up going with. He looks like he'll be a great shout for me. I think back from injury, back straight into the team, kind of picking up that attacking form that he left off with when he was at the start of the season. That kind of point where he's getting forward, he's getting a lot of chances, he's getting shooting opportunities as well. I think Estupinian looks a great pick, and Wolves at home is, of course, a relatively kind fixture. That being said, the boys in orange have scored quite a lot of goals so far this season, and they have not looked as ruthless and toothless in attack as they have at certain points, last season and the seasons prior. I think the Wolves have looked pretty decent. I could definitely see them grabbing a goal in that game. But at the moment in FPL, it's very much the case that we're just targeting almost the most attacking defenders out of the bunch. And you can kind of almost ignore a defensive fixture difficulty and the potential for clean sheets and just kind of look for defenders from very attacking teams who are taking up attacking roles and are going up almost against weaker defenses. And historically in FPL, we're always considering, when we're looking at our defenders, which attacks are they going up against? Whereas now, with players like Porro, Trent, Estupinian, for example, we've then got to look at the defenses, that the other team's defenses, rather than their attacking prowess, so to speak, if that makes sense. So yeah, Wolves at the moment, their form doesn't look too bad attacking wise, but Estupinian can always go forward and get something in attack, of course. And Ben White, I don't really, it's hard to pick between the Arsenal defenders, so to speak. I'm not really invested in them on my wildcard, and I wasn't really that keen on doing so. Ben White, if you want to go for one, looks like a very decent pick of the bunch. But Crystal Palace have been doing all right recently. They've had some good goals from, Elise, who has been really, really strong as of late. They've also got some players returning from injury, so I'm hoping that Palace will be able to put one past the Gunners for the sake of my own personal side. But Ben White at the moment doesn't look like too bad a shout. Long term wise, not sure I prefer him over just going for Gabriel and saving a bit of cash, or having Saliba, who we know who's great for bonus points. In midfield, we're going to see a midfield five of Bruno Fernandes, Martin Odegaard, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, and Cole Palmer. And Cole Palmer was one who we discussed with the captain's armband yesterday, but he doesn't take it. It's actually Bukayo Saka, and the algorithm is very much backing Arsenal against Crystal Palace in that fixture for game week 21. Not only loading on a triple up, but also putting the armband on one of those three assets. Personally, not what I'm going to go for, and as you'll see in a moment, I've gone with some more differential picks in the midfield. But I suppose, Saka and Odegaard probably are due some returns. Maybe they'll come through for them in this fixture, where it is a pretty nice home one against Crystal Palace. We've then got Phil Foden against Newcastle, and long-term Phil Foden, you got to consider whether or not De Bruyne is going to impact his minutes. Of course, they've got other players returning as well, Manchester City, which will mean that Foden could well be used more in the Champions League, could well be used more in the Premier League. It's very, very hard to tell with Pep Guardiola and that famous Pep Roulette. But for this week, at least, I think he looks like he'll be safe for the game against Newcastle, who have, as we know, looked out of form recently. And I think Foden could be a good, nice little pick for game week 21. Bruno Fernandes is another one where it is kind of interesting. I think, he's going to be one who's more safe long-term in the contrast to Phil Foden. However, I just think Manchester United are just not a team worth investing in. Even for a single game week, I think it's very, very hard to predict and tell which kind of Manchester United side you're going to get out at the moment, whether or not you're going to get one who can put on a decent showing, or whether or not you're going to get a team who could get absolutely battered by a Tottenham Hotspur side right now. So not really too much of a fan of Bruno Fernandes either. And looking at this team, I'm kind of not feeling too unconfident, or not feeling a lack of confidence for the picks that I've gone for in my side. Cole Palmer is the one that I really do like out of this midfield five. 4.7 predicted points for him in game week 21. And yeah, he's been on a fantastic run of form at the moment. He just looks like one of those assets who is so key and influential to everything their side does, that as an FPL option, especially at that kind of price, they can end up being a complete gold mine, basically. And Palmer has kind of proven himself to be that already in a short space of time at the Blues. And then finally, up front, we've got Neal Maupay and Dominic Solanke, who I'm very shocked to see kind of as this front two. Solanke maybe a little less so. Neal Maupay kind of bamboozled that he's made it into this side. I think, you've got Ivan Toney returning. I know you've got Mbeumo out injured. There has been opportunities, and Neal Maupay has been getting game time. Just a little bit confused as to why, Forest haven't looked too bad with a new manager bounce as well. So Maupay in this side, maybe you guys can offer a better explanation or a better selling point for why he might be in this team. But yeah, for me, just a little bit confused about that one, really. On the bench for the algorithm, if required this week, we've got Vicario, Alvarez, Dunk, and Pinnock. So yeah, some pretty, we've got some scope for investment on the bench, given that there isn't too many premiums at the moment who are worthwhile in FPL at the moment for the next few game weeks at least. So there's plenty of funds to spend, and I kind of ran into that problem as well when I was putting together my team, which, speaking of which, we'll go and have a look at now. And I'm just going to reveal the whole bunch to you guys for my side, because to be honest, there are so many changes that it's difficult to run through it and not kind of cover it position by position almost. The defense is an area where things do look relatively similar. We've got Areola, Hufal, and Estupiñán still in my side. However, I've chosen to go for a Luton defender. Luton taking on Burnley this week does kind of mean that we've got a tougher set of fixtures to pick from in this series. And so I've decided to actually invest in a player from one of those sides. And I've gone with Doughty, the fullback of Luton, who I think has looked really good from what I've seen of him on the ball. Looks fantastic. He scored recently as well. Admittedly, not the most brilliant goal. It was a little bit lucky, I think you'd have to say, and he'd probably admit himself. But I think that I've seen a lot of selling points for him. The data doesn't look bad at all. And he's my kind of punty differential in the defence. In midfield is where I've kind of gone for the rest of my punts. I've gone with Alvarez and Solanke up front. So again, just kind of invested in two forwards who have been in a decent bit of form and might not have the strongest fixtures in the world, but it's given me scope to just go for a little few differentials in midfield instead and kind of play it safe, so to speak, up front, and try and just maybe get one or two returns max from these guys. Not looking for, a hat trick or anything, but Dominic Solanke can surprise us, of course, with 3 goals. In midfield is where I've gone with Diogo Jota, Pascal Gross, Eze, Lewis Potter, and then Cole Palmer, who is taking my captain's armband. And just for the fun of it, I've stuck the vice captain's armband on Doughty. In midfield, Lewis Potter has been taken over with quite a number of returns. He's a cheap midfielder who I did consider actually going for, on my wild card. He's playing out of position, kind of in towards the front line. I don't know how much longer he's going to continue to get game time, etc., etc., with the players returning for Brentford. But for this week at least, I think he looks like a good option. And when I saw, Neil Maupay is being invested in against Nottingham Forest, maybe there's something I'm not seeing, and that could be a better fixture for Brentford than it looks on paper, because Forest haven't been their best all the time this season. There's a reason why their manager did end up getting sacked. And so Lewis Potter is what I've kind of gone with to try and capitalise on that. Eze, when he's fit as an option, is just one that I love to go with, kind of whichever team he's taking on. I know it's an away fixture. I know it's against Arsenal, one of the best sides in the league. However, I just got this weird gut feeling about him, and so that's why I've chosen to go with him this game week. And, he'll have the penalties and the free kicks, all those set pieces that he does have when he's fit, ready, and available. We've then got Pascal Gross of Brighton and Diogo Jota of Liverpool, who I'm hoping will get some game time and some decent minutes now that Mohamed Salah is off at the African Cup of Nations. So whether or not he'll start, I'm seeing, conflicting things kind of over on Twitter and other places. So Diaz will be the better option. There could be better options into that Liverpool attack. But I just think minute for minute, when Diogo Jota's on the pitch, there's not really anyone quite as good. There's a bit of a sour taste in my mouth from that penalty decision, admittedly. But if Jota can keep getting into those areas where we know he performs really well at, he's a clinical finisher. He's great in the air as well. And to be honest, Jota is one I'm feeling quietly confident in if he can get some minutes for this side. On the bench, I've got Turner, João Pedro, Saliba, and Branthwaite. Again, kind of had that scenario where I just had so much money and not really any idea what to do with it. So I just put some other punts that I kind of quite fancy for this game week down on the bench. But yeah, that's going to wrap up my team and the Algorithms teams for game week 21. Let me know who you guys think is going to come out on top down below in the comments. The predicted points certainly go in favour of the algorithm for this game week. We're talking about in the Slack group chat for Fantasy Football Fix. If you showed someone this team at this point in the season and you showed it to someone who's just starting out in game week 21, I think they'd have probably thought you're either just auto-clicked or something's gone terribly wrong in the season. So I'm absolutely shocked that I'm kind of sat at this point where I've got a free hit team that looks like this, and this would be my favourite free hit team in game week 21. But hey, that's part and parcel of the fun of liking football and following the Premier League. Anything really can happen. Thank you very much for once again tuning in to an Eddie versus the algorithm video. If you've made it this far, do consider dropping a thumbs up. It really does help us out. And I wish you guys the best of luck for game week 21. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.